Okay, so one of the keywords that was on the list of articles to write was summer wedding suits for men. Now, the only problem with this, and I'm not saying that Hamish is wrong here, you can write an article about summer wedding suits for men. The only problem with this keyword is it's a commercial intent keyword. And what that means is if somebody's typing this into Google, they've already made up their mind what sort of suit they want. They're not at the research stage here. And the reason why I say that is when you look at the Google search results, it shows you a big list of shopping websites here. If you scroll down, you'll see that these are all e-commerce websites. So let's open each one by one. Now, obviously I'm in the UK, so the results that you have are going to be maybe slightly different if you're in the US. But as you can see, if somebody typing in summer suits for men, there are no articles coming up here. These are all e-commerce sites. Income Streamers, run by a guy called Hamish, just came out of an excellent video talking about GPTs and topical authority. And even though it's a brilliant video, I just want to give my perspective on how I would do things a little differently. In this video, I'll go over what topical authorities are in SEO and how GPTs will affect this. I'll also explain how GPTs can also help you with your topical authority and then give you my take on how I would do things a little differently. But first, what the hell are GPTs and how do they differ from ChatGPT, for example? You see, custom GPTs are special versions of a technology called generative pre-trained transformers made to do specific jobs really well. Now, developers and content creators can create these GPTs by giving them clear instructions of what they're trying to do, not just for now, but for the future. So topical authority in SEO refers to a website's credibility and authority on a particular topic. It involves consistently creating high value content on a topic and being the topical authority on that topic. And the more your website becomes a topical authority, the more it gains trust in Google's eyes. And as you're probably aware, the more trust you can gain with Google, the higher up it's going to actually place you in the SERPs. Now, to build topical authority, you need to do a few things. You need to do some serious keyword research to find out what your readers are actually typing into Google. You need to produce consistent high quality content. You need to get some high quality backlinks and also get some social shares. Now, all of this demonstrates your expertise, your authoritativeness, and your trustworthiness through content optimization. So let's watch a short clip of Hamish discussing how to use these GPTs to boost your topical authority.
In this video, we are talking about topical authority. Well, we're talking about topical authority in the context of a fresh website. Now, I get this question a lot. What to do if you have a new website? Because a lot of what I talk about is using internal links, which is a link from one of your pages to another page, to spread topical authority across your website. What you do is you write content around the same topic, and from that page, you link to this page, okay? And what that does is it slowly raises the topical authority, not just of this page, but also of the entire website, because you're creating more content. So first of all, this is using a custom GPT. This is one that I just wrote quickly. Like it's you can make it better, and you can find it in the description, etc. But I'm just going to go to edit and configure. So you are SEO GPT. Your goal is to create topical authority maps for websites that don't exist yet. You create a table with title, description of page, URL handle. Okay, this is really, really important. Ask for a niche. Give 10 sub-niches in that niche. Then ask which sub-niche you would like to explore first. Then generate 30 pages for each sub-niche. Now you can, at the end of this 30, you can say continue, you can say give me more, etc., etc. But 30 is a pretty high number because that's already 300 plus pages. So the way this works is it takes the niche and splits it into sub-niches. For all those sub-niches, it generates 30 potential pages at a time. These pages should cover all the topics around that sub-niche without repeating yourself in any way. There should be a space. The idea is to do a whole 360-degree overview of that sub-niche, including the most popular search terms around it. This builds topical authority. You will output a table with 3 columns. The title column should include the main keyword, but not be overly long or complicated. The description column should give a brief overview of the page and what people can expect from the page. This is to later put it into ChatGPT. The URL slug column should include a short and to the point URL slug of that page. Never repeat topics more than once. You create as much and as detailed as possible for each sub-niche. Detailed information as possible for each sub-niche, okay? So we'll close that. We'll update. So once we're here, we open up our topical authority and we say, hi, I am going to use classic menswear. The only reason I'm using classic menswear, okay, is because I know this niche well and I can tell you straight away if something is good or bad, okay? So I'm here to help. Please provide me with the niche you're interested in. I'll generate sub-niches and potential web pages for you. So
now this works really well if you have an e-commerce website. So say, for example, you've got an e-commerce website and you've got a blog that's attached to this. This works really well because you can write content and then link back to the collections or the categories of your e-commerce website. What I would say is the future is it's very, very difficult to do this for affiliate marketing. It's a lot more difficult to write commercial intent content and have that rank instead of the actual collection or the actual product page in the actual search results. Very, very, very difficult. So just take that into account when you're watching this video.
We'll say classic menswear. And then what it'll do is it will create the 10 sub-niches for classic menswear. So I've already done this one. I've already tested this one. It worked really, really well. So what I'm going to do instead is let's do... Oh, well, we may as well just do it in order. So do number 1. What this is going to do is it's going to give you all of the topics that you need to cover to really be considered an authority on suits and tailoring. Okay? So you've just got all the basics, but the really, really cool and important thing, okay, and this is something that people don't really realize you can do. I'm just going to write this down. You can internally link to a page that doesn't exist yet. Okay? So because we're not indexing the website until, you know, all the content is on there, we can do something really, really specific, which is we can actually link to pages that don't exist yet. Okay, so normally what happens if you go on like twomen.it/collections, we don't sell, I don't know, Armani. So I do /Armani and it takes me to a 404 page, okay? But I could make this page, I could internally link to this page if my boss tells me in the past, if he says something like, my old boss, in a few months we're going to get Armani, so start talking about Armani on the blog posts, I can already do that. Just because we don't have it yet, or just because the page doesn't exist, it doesn't really matter because, I mean, a 404 is not the end of the world, okay?
So what I would say here is that Hamish technically isn't wrong. I'm going to add a little bit of caution here. If you've got a new website, I wouldn't recommend this course of action. I wouldn't recommend linking to pages and posts that don't exist at the moment, because when you have a new website, it's very, very difficult to get new pages and posts indexed. So what you try to do, in effect, is you try to make sure you do everything that's correct in Google's eyes, and you try to index pages and posts as you actually post them. And it might even take a few days, but linking to a page that doesn't exist yet is going to cause problems later down the road. When you start posting content at scale, it's going to be very, very difficult then to get your pages indexed when Google just sees all these 404 errors in the back of your Google Search Console.
It's on your live sites, okay? What I'm saying is you can internally link to something that doesn't exist yet, okay? So what we can actually do is we can create all of the content without worrying, oh, that page doesn't exist yet, what am I going to do, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It does not matter because you can create internal links to things that don't exist yet. So now you have 30 pages. Look, you have all 30 pages here, and you have their URLs. As long as you don't change this, this is the URL for this page, okay? It doesn't matter that the content hasn't been created yet. So this is what I find kind of, it's so important to understand this. So when you have a fresh website, the first thing you need to do is you need to nail at least 10 of these topics, okay? So choose the best 10 from this list. Now, if you want to know what the best 10 are, you can use Ahrefs Keyword Generator, you can use Google Ads Keyword Planner. If you don't want to sign up to anything, okay, just go on Google, type in Ahrefs Keyword Planner, or Generator, sorry. And then you take one, wedding suits for men, okay, and you just put it here and you search and it will verify, etc., etc. And you can actually see, according to Ahrefs, what kind of traffic you could expect from an article that covers all of these topics, okay? So you write one article, you cover all of these, okay? And then you can do sub-niches from this sub-niche and etc., etc. But before you overcomplicate things, you take suits, okay? You create a page for suits with all of the info on it. Then you create 10 sub-niche pages and internally link to suits. And then what you do is you do the next one. So that's suits done. Okay, let's say that's suits done.
I mean, I'm just going to reiterate here, it's much better to do this if you have an e-commerce site or you're about to start an e-commerce site and then write content based on what Hamish is talking about here. I think in the future it's going to be very, very difficult to have a niche website that's talking about suits, for example, having an affiliate link and then linking to an e-commerce site. I think life is going to be very, very difficult for you. But I think if you have your own e-commerce site and you've actually got people typing in your brand into Google and actually going to your website by typing in your brand, it sends a lot of positive signals to Google. But to try to do this as a niche website is going to be very difficult.
So then you go to the next one. You can create 30 if you want. I'm just saying 10 because I don't want to freak people out, basically, because I know some people hear 10 and they say, "Oh my God, 10! I'm not doing 10. That's insane." So yeah, you gotta be careful. I know what it's like to create 30 sub-niche pages for each page. Okay, it does take a bit of time, so that's why I'm talking in 10s instead of 30s. Okay, but I would personally recommend doing 30. Now, something really, really interesting here. Business attire is an amazing keyword. Okay, it's literally one of the best keywords in this niche. Formal event dressing guide, another amazing keyword. Seasonal style guides for men, really, really good. You can just generally see this is another really good keyword. This is another really good keyword.
Okay, so one of the keywords that was on the list of articles to write was summer wedding suits for men. Now, the only problem with this, and I'm not saying that Hamish is wrong here, you can write an article about summer wedding suits for men. The only problem with this keyword is it's a commercial intent keyword. And what that means is if somebody's typing this into Google, they've already made up their mind what sort of suit they want. They're not at the research stage here. And the reason why I say that is when you look at the Google search results, it shows you a big list of shopping websites here. If you scroll down, you'll see that these are all e-commerce websites. So let's open each one by one. Now, obviously, I'm in the UK, so the results that you have are going to be maybe slightly different if you're in the US. But as you can see, if somebody typing in summer suits for men, there are no articles coming up here. These are all e-commerce sites, okay? And what that says to me is they know exactly what they want. They're not at research stage now. They are looking for a summer suit, or sorry, a summer wedding suit for men. So that's the third website. Again, another e-commerce site. Fourth one, e-commerce site. M&S, Moss. You can see, so virtually every result on this front page is not an article about summer wedding suits for men. They're e-commerce websites. Now, what Hamish is discussing isn't exactly wrong. It's what I'm suggesting is, and what I would probably, how I'll do things a little bit differently, is I'd write content, informational content that points to these collections or these categories on your e-commerce website. And the way I would personally do this is I would use a keyword tool and put in the search term that ChatGPT has actually given you to see if we can find some informational type articles or informational type titles that you can use to write an article about. So in this example, I'm using keyword tool.io or .io, and I've just typed in black wedding suits for men. Now, again, this is another commercial intent. If I did a search for this, you're gonna have the same results as what we came up with before. They're going to be all e-commerce websites. There's not going to be any articles at all. So there's no point in actually writing an article about black wedding suits for men because it's going to be a commercial intent keyword. What I would do, and this is how my perspective is a little different, is instead of writing an article on black wedding suits for men, I would personally write an informational article, which is can a man wear black suits to a wedding? That's an informational type article. And if I do a search for that on Google, you'll see that there aren't any e-commerce sites. There's no shopping results that come up on here. Let me just get rid of this. You can see that there's no shopping results and there's no Google ads. That suggests to me that this is an informational keyword. And this is something that you can actually write an article on. Now, there is a slight caveat to this. Okay, it's not just a case of grabbing keywords and start writing articles on them. Even though ChatGPT has actually provided you with the articles, you need to go to Google to see whether it's an informational keyword or long tail keyword, or it's a commercial intent one, because that's going to determine what you're going to write your article on. And there's another addition here as well. Before, what you could do is you could write a question stroke answer article just specifically on that question and write an article about it. But in the last Google Helpful Content update, they changed things quite dramatically. And I think it's because there are so many AI articles online now, you now need to cover the topic in a general form and actually cover the answer within that article. So what you used to do before is you used to actually have in the title and in the URL, you used to write an article that says, can a man wear a black suit to a wedding? Unfortunately, you can't really do that anymore. You can do in some respects. If you came along these search results and you saw loads of articles that had that sort of heading, then yes, not a problem in actually writing it. But now what you see is what Google's choosing is this is as a number one result. And the reason why they're doing this is they can't index tens, hundreds of articles with that sort of title and heading in. And again, that's because of the sheer amount of AI content that's out there at the moment. And if we have a look at what they're using as this featured snippet, if we try to find this paragraph in that article, you'll see it's actually part of an FAQ. So I'm just going to say this again. They want a definitive guide, or they want a larger article, and they want you to cover that question. Can a man wear a black suit to a wedding? They want you to cover that within the article. They don't want a specific article on it. Now, that's, like I said, it doesn't go for every single article out there. And before you do anything, you need to just make sure what Google is actually ranking for that keyword. So the long and the short of it is, if you were going to write, can a man wear a black suit to a wedding? You wouldn't write an article specifically on that. You'd write a definitive guide for wearing a black suit for a wedding.
This will actually copy and paste into a Google Sheet. A lot of people don't know this. I don't know why, but a table is a table, right? So it's a comma separated value or space separated value or whatever it might be. So now you can start to build what is known as a topical map. So this is suits and tailoring, and this is 30 topics on suits and tailoring, okay? So we'll do format as well, wrapping, and we'll just wrap it just so we can see all the content, etc. Then what we want to do is we want to get the next one. Okay, so this is another 30, and we just do exactly the same thing, put it into Markdown HTML, get rid of the crap here and here.
Now, I'm not criticizing Hamish here. Google Sheets is absolutely brilliant for actually listing the articles that you're going to write and then obviously updating them once you have written them. The only thing I would say is if you're looking to write several articles, and if you're having, for example, multiple people write different articles for you, I don't think Google Sheets is the right piece of software that you need to be using. I would personally use something called Airtable. And what Airtable is, it's basically a combination of a spreadsheet and also a database at the same time. And what I will do is I will leave a link in the description where you can have a go at it. I think they do a free plan as well. I'm not making any money from this. This is just something that we personally use in our business. And what it allows you to do is it allows you to actually put the list of all the articles that I listed here. You can have notes. You can put the URL once you've published it. You can assign different people for each article to be written. You can have the date published, last updated. If you know about topical authority or know about the pillar and cluster technique, I'll probably explain that in another video. And what you can also do as well is you can put filters on the left-hand side here. So instead of changing anything on here, all you need to do, say for example, you come to this document, or you come to this piece of software and you want to find out which articles are actually ones that you need to do. You can basically just use the filters here and it will show you all the articles that you need to do, you need to complete. You can change it to editing in progress, or you can show the ones that are actually published as well. And it's very, very easy for you to change this. If you change this to do in the status, and you changed it to in progress, what it will do is if you go to do, it will then move the article into this filter. But what's really, really important is the fact that you're able to actually put the last updated date on there. So say, for example, you'd published this article and you put it as the last updated. You can change the date on here. So let's just say, for example, the last time it was updated was today. You can set up what we call automations, which will basically either email you or even WhatsApp you to say that you need to update this. Generally, it's recommended you're talking about 60 or 90 days to update an article, but at least it gives you some flexibility in what you can and can't do. And like I said to you before, if this was a pillar, so if this was the main article and all the other articles were linking to it, you can actually change it to pillar or cluster as well. And like I said, I'm not criticizing Google Sheets. Google Sheets is great. It's just, if you're writing several articles, you'll probably find something like Airtable. It's just going to give you a lot more flexibility and a lot more control over the people that are writing for you, and also probably your own internal team as well.
And then you Control V this again, and you adjust, blah, blah, blah. And now you start to build topical authority. And as long as you don't change these URL slugs, you can already use these as internal links. Okay, so let's say we want to write after you've done all of this. This is how you build topical authority. Okay, you do 10 of each for each of these. That's 100 pages. Okay, then after that, that's when you start writing blog posts. Those blog posts will then internally link across the web. Okay.
So what Hamish mentions here is really, really important. When you start internally and externally linking from a web page or post, it's really important to know exactly when you did that, because then it gives you kind of an indication of, if you think about it logically, if you've got a list of all of these pages and posts, and this is organized in a way that it shows you the last time you actually updated it, you can then see, if you haven't got automation set up on Airtable, you can still physically see when the last time when you actually updated something. So you know in 60 days time that you need to update this page or post that says born in eggs, timers and techniques. And then as soon as you've updated it, it will fall to the bottom of the list, and the next one it will tell you when you actually need to update it.
You can still internally link to the other 20, even if they don't exist yet, because after you've done some blogs, you will go back and you will create some more of this content. Now, for me personally, what I would do, and this is what I did with Tiny Home Hub, is I would just create all 310. So 10 pillar pages, 300 sub niche pillar pages, and then, I don't know, 100 blog posts. Okay. This right here, if you do this and you still have zero traffic, then I don't know what to tell you.
So at this point, Hamish isn't actually wrong. The way he's describing it and the way he's explaining it is actually correct. The only thing I would do differently is I would look at each one of those articles to see what the commercial intent is, whether it's a commercial intent keyword or if it's an informational intent keyword. You really do need to know the difference, because there's no point writing content on a commercial intent keyword, because what Google's going to show you is just shopping results and ads. That's pretty much what it's going to show you, and obviously product pages.
This is like my blueprint to getting your first kind of organic sale, affiliate sale, whatever it might be.
The way Hamish is actually teaching us there is actually correct. The way he's organized all the pages, all the posts, all the pillar, all the cluster content is actually correct. My only recommendation is try to get away from commercial intent content and actually do more informational content if you're using ads within your article. I think in this day and age, to try and be an affiliate for suits, for example, is going to be extremely difficult. And Google's already said they've already chosen websites that actually have e-commerce sites linked to them. So with the sheer amount of AI content out there, you really do want to be ahead of the competition. And the only way you can do that is to do things slightly differently. And that's why this video that's on the screen here now will actually show you how to do things differently so you can get ahead of all the AI content that's already out there. So my name's Des. I appreciate you watching this video. And if you want to like and subscribe, that'd be fantastic. And I'll see you in the next video.